Sweet Baby Inc. is running to Kotaku to do damage control. You cannot make this up, folks. Before we get into this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. Wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com yesterday. And yes, indeed, Sweet Baby Inc. is running to Kotaku for damage control after their cancel campaign against KabrutusRambo and the Steam curator list was absolutely destroyed, and their company's vile agenda was exposed. So, just to get you caught up, if you don't know what's going on, Sweet Baby Inc. employees Chris Kindred and Maya Kramer attempted to cancel Brazilian gamer KabrutusRambo after he created a Steam curator list that lists out all of the games that Sweet Baby Inc. has worked on that are available on Steam. This is what Kindred posted on X. The Steam curator harassment group Sweet Baby Inc. detected is led by this person, KabrutusRambo. Here's them trying to be slick so they don't get reported. Even with the discriminatory language filed off, the group itself still fails the code of conduct. Kindred then posted, anyway, report the F out of this group. And then Kindred concluded saying, and report the creator since he loves his account so much, clearly trying to cancel the Steam curator list and KabrutusRambo for creating the list that just lists off all of the games that Sweet Baby Inc. has worked on, according to Sweet Baby Inc. themselves. And it wasn't just Kindred. Kindred was joined by Maya Kramer under the account Lego Butts, who shared a lengthy thread discussing the Steam curator list. As part of the thread, Kramer posted, sorry, no one thing has changed. The number of people who understand that spreading misinformation just lets them be racist in public with no consequence has increased dramatically. That has changed. Probably requires some fighting from those with authority. Probably. So obviously, accusing basically KabrutusRambo and everyone who has joined the Steam curator list or is following it, is taking part in the discussions in the group around it, accusing them of being racist. We've seen this time and time and time again. These people are always making these accusations without providing any proof. Another perfect example. And then obviously trying to get it canceled by saying requires some fighting from those with authority. Obviously talking about Valve and Steam trying to shut down the curator list and get KabrutusRambo and probably the hundreds of thousands of followers that are now following the Steam curator list banned from Steam. And then Kramer went on and said this, for example, Steam doesn't have guidelines for creators as far as I can tell that would prevent someone from starting a curation group that focuses on, say, Sweet Baby Inc. and warns people to not buy games they're associated with, which could just list any game at all. So clearly talking about the Sweet Baby Inc. detected curator list. And at the time, it was at 9,000. I think it's over 200,000 now. It might be even higher. So when I wrote it, it was at 191,000. And when I first initially reported on it, it was 20,000. You can see in Kramer's tweet here, it was at 9,000 when she posted back on February 29th. So following all of this, obviously the cancellation attempt has not worked so far. In fact, Kindred actually had her account limited on X. So she was actually flagged by X for trying to target, harass, and create a mass report campaign against the Steam curator list and KabrutusRambo. But following all this, we saw Sweet Baby Inc. CEO Kim Belair and her co-founder David Bedard quickly running to Kotaku. I think this is within a week, right? We're like February 29th. We're now at March 7th. So maybe a little bit over a week, but they were with Kotaku publishing an article with them yesterday. And this is what Belair had to say. Obviously, if you read the entire Kotaku article, I'm not going to go through it here, but it's clearly created in order to try and show Sweet Baby Inc. in as positive a light as possible. Does not address the cancellation campaign, does not address any of the tactics that Sweet Baby Inc. has talked about employing, does not talk about anything that Kim Belair had to say about straight white male gamers. Nothing about that. Clearly just going to ignore all of that stuff, all of their vile behavior, and just try and make them, oh, they're just this innocent company that is now a victim when they were the ones who were trying to destroy KabrutusRambo and the Steam curator list. But this is what Kim Belair had to say to Kotaku. She said, Sweet Baby is, at its core, a narrative development company. That means anything from script writing to narrative design to narrative direction to story reviews. One of the things that we do offer is cultural consultations or authenticity consultations. For us, that generally means that we might be asked to look at a story if there's a character in it who is marginalized in a certain way, and the studio wants us to connect them with a consultant who can bring a little bit of authenticity. But the perspective is never that we're coming in and injecting diversity. For the most part, it's the reverse. It's that a company has created a character and they want to make that character more representative and more interesting. So the whole narrative that Sweet Baby Inc. is trying to push is we aren't actually injecting wokeness. It's these studios are the ones that are coming to us and they want us to help them craft these characters. Well, no, we know what you said in 2019. We know what's on your website. You're absolutely lying. Because this is what is on your website, or what was. I'm seeing now reports that the website isn't even up right now, and they're making massive changes to it to try and obfuscate what they actually are up to. So if you look at the About Us section on the website, or what it looked like, this is what it said. Founded in 2018, Sweet Baby Inc. is a narrative development and consultation studio based in Montreal and working around the globe. Our mission is to tell better, more empathetic stories while diversifying and enriching the video games industry. So clearly trying to inject diversity into the video game industry. That's exactly what you have on your About Us section. So you are lying, Kim Belair. It goes on and says, we aim to make games more engaging, more fun, more meaningful, and more inclusive for everyone. Again, injecting inclusivity into the video game industry. You are lying, Kim Belair. And then we have all these other sections too on the website. So here's their services section. It says, we believe you need diverse voices to solve diverse problems. Sweet Baby Inc. provides narrative consultation at any stage of development, boasting a talented team with vetted industry experience to best bring your story to life. And then the outreach section is this. New and marginalized talent can change this industry if given the proper support. So clearly they want to change the industry through what they're calling marginalized talent. We want to provide this through our outreach program. So they're clearly trying to change the video game industry through what they're calling marginalized talent. So Kim Belair, again, is lying according to what they have on their website, what she has on her own website. We also go back to what she said in 2019, that she did not want a video game developer to include a Frenchman, but rather wanted that character to be Black, or she says person of color. This is what she said at the Game Developers Conference. Let's actually just listen to it right here. I think I have it set to the time.
You can mix it up a bit. How about this character is kind of like stereotypically French? So they have a beret and they have like a striped shirt. And I was like, okay, if you need to do that, can we at least make them a person of color? And they said, oh no, that would be weird. They're already French. So I want to do better than this.
So there you go. She's saying that the fact that this video game that she was consulting with had an actual Frenchman, she didn't like that. She didn't like that they had a Frenchman in their game, and she wanted to make it a person of color. And having the Frenchman was not good enough for her, and she wanted it to do better. So I think that's pretty clear that she is trying to inject wokeness, inject diversity into the games that she is consulting on. Like, very obvious. That's what she's doing. She admits it. 2019. It's on their website. Very clear what this company does based on what they say they do. But it wasn't just Belair. As I said, David Bedard also decided to go and run to Kotaku in this article. And this is what he told them. People can't imagine that we might do anything else but DEI. They can't imagine that we're just talented writers, that we're talented narrative designers, and that people are hiring us because we tell good stories, because we collaborate well, and because we write video games. They have to diminish our accomplishments to our identities. They can't imagine that the work I did on Spider-Man was story work versus adding pride flags. Well, that's because your entire company literally talks about your identity. We just read the About Us section. We just read the services section, and we just read the outreach section. And it literally says that your company is all about marginalized talent, and thus that's your identity. That's all about your identity. And now you're whining about how you self-identified the company. Stop it. You are not the victim here. This is how you were getting yourself into these video game companies, was playing on your identity. And now you're upset that it's coming back to bite you. We also got this from Belair, too, later on in the Kotaku article. She said, we are a narrative company. That primarily is our work. We are not censors. We have no interest in false diversity or in tokenization. We have an interest in making stories better and making characters more interesting and in developing a stronger language around narrative design. Those are the things that we are really passionate about. If you're going to come for my work, you can do that. If someone says, I wrote a story about you and says it's not good, that's totally fine. But if you're going to come for me, at least come correct. Don't be loud and wrong. So again, we can go back to that Frenchman example. It's unclear how replacing a Frenchman with a black man makes the game better. But as noted above, that's what Belair believes. And that is the definition of false diversity and tokenization. So that's exactly what she wants. She's lying again. And then if we go back to that game developers conference presentation that she gave in 2019, she admits that her entire company is about false diversity and tokenization, while she demonized straight white male gamers and even claimed they were standing, quote, in the way of our progress and our innovation. This is what she said. I think in our industry and in so many creative industries, if you want to look at film and television and any art form, we start treating our core demographics as a fixed and static value, something that does not want to change and something that is locked in place. So despite the changing face of audiences, despite the changing face of conferences like this one, we still look at our core demographics and say, okay, they're white, cis, hetero males. And we cater almost exclusively to them. And the problem is that we don't just cater to them like, here's something that we think you'll enjoy. We cater to them like a picky baby. We feed them the same thing that we know that they love, and we keep on feeding it. We're like, here you go. We know you love it. Eat this, eat this, eat this. So then when they get anything else, they react as a picky baby would, which would be like, oh, no, thank you. I do not want this. And we've actually done this so long that what we're doing is creating an entire nation of picky babies, and they make us scared to deviate from what we actually want to do, just in case these picky babies don't want to play our games. Later in the presentation, she returned to this despicable metaphor. She says, I do like to imagine that when we look at white guys, and there's several of you here, I think when we look at you, we say, okay, you can't possibly enjoy this. But I think they want also, and maybe you want also, to experience new and different stories. I think we need to step out of this rule that like white men can enjoy fantasy worlds, aliens, sci-fi, monsters, anything, so long as it is through a lens that looks exactly like them. Because if that's the kind of person that we're always going to cater to, you're never going to innovate. You're never going to change things. You're going to keep feeding the picky baby. And we cannot continue to try to create art under a system that is going to bar innovation for fear of a picky baby throwing a tantrum. A little bit later in the presentation, she added this. I don't think it's pie in the sky thinking to go like, hey, maybe we can invite white dudes to play as other people and experience different things through someone else's eyes. And if they don't like it, we have to start thinking we're not losing. They're losing and we're losing because we're going to let them stand in the way of our progress and innovation. So clearly, she's all about pushing an agenda, demonizing white people, and even says that straight white males, these that she describes as picky babies, are standing in the way of progress and innovation when they don't like what she is doing, when they don't like her agenda. You can't make it up, folks. On top of that, she also admitted one of the primary products her company offers is censorship in the form of sensitivity reading. At the GDC presentation, she said, we need sensitivity readers. We need risk assessment. And these are again, important services that I literally list on every PDF that I send out to be like, hey, I can do risk assessment and sensitivity reading. So again, she's lying when she says she doesn't censor games. That is exactly what she does. She just calls it sensitivity reading. So these people are running to Kotaku to spread their lies, to gaslight people and not even address their own actions. They want to play the victim when they are the ones who launched the attack in the first place. And now they're upset that people are pushing back against their evil agenda. We will not let them get away with this any longer. Let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, but to always speak the truth.